Well, good afternoon, Cedarfield family. Those of you that are here at the community listening, we apologize for our little delay here. Some technical difficulties due to the power outage we experienced at 1 o'clock. Those of you that are tuning in, listening to the video tonight, thank you for taking time out of your schedule to listen to this information. We have now a condensed version of a live chat. So we're going to go through a couple of tidbits that we intended to deliver in a little bit of an accelerated fashion. The format for today is just quite simple. I have some information to share, and then Margaret is here to round us out with some spiritual well-being and some good news. But first, just talking a little bit about Cedarfield Forward, our three-phase plan. I issued a memo to the residents, to the families and team members yesterday and today. The content of that memo, just in summary, I can't believe it's been 11 weeks. Feels like much longer than that, doesn't it, Eddie? 11 weeks that we've been in this COVID-19 evolving preparedness plan to prevent the spread of the coronavirus. This community pandemic has delivered tough times, no doubt, to all of us. We are now taking extra precautions all day long, wearing masks, washing our hands more than ever, but I know without a shadow of a doubt that we are all in this together, especially the 90%. Every day we receive words of gratitude that come in from to the administration office, to pastoral services, from the residents and the families. They express how thankful they are for the work that we are doing to keep their loved ones safe, to keep team members safe, and we are truly appreciative of all of those accolades. Thank you so much. As they are coming in, if they are highlighting a specific team member, we're absolutely sending that on to that specific person to cheer them on. Our goal here at Cedarfield has been and will always be the safety and well-being of our residents, our team members, and our families. And to that end, I must stress that like the governor's multi-phase plan to reopen Virginia today, looks like we are delaying Richmond. We are developing a three-phase plan here at Cedarfield. We intend to implement this plan and move through each of the three phases successfully if we continue on the track that we're on right now of keeping any new COVID-19 cases out of Cedarfield. So we've been creating this very detailed framework. Here is a framework, 17 pages long, that outlines our three-phase approach for Cedarfield Forward to safely and gradually ease restrictions while containing the COVID-19 spread. In this plan, it talks about a mission statement and some shared values. We have a very simple mission statement that everyone can wrap themselves around. It's three very simple words: keeping everyone safe. Very, very simple. Over the next three phases, and I must stress that this third phase, that when we get to the third phase, which we don't really have an exact date yet, that third phase will be a new norm, not only for Cedarfield, but for any retirement community around the country until a vaccine is created. I also just want to stress that these three phases, we've been sensing a lot of energy today and yesterday that we're going into phase one next week, and that means it's life back to normal. And I just want to caution everyone that we do plan to implement phase one, hopefully by next Wednesday. And we are going, it's like the governor said 2 weeks ago, It's like a dimmer switch. We're going to turn back on services and amenities as a dimmer switch, not and flicking on the light switch. But we do have 7 shared values. Some residents have already been taking these values very seriously and have implemented them already. Some are adjusting to them, and some, the 10%, need a little wake-up call here. So just one more time about those shared values. You can read for them. You read them on the memo that was posted today. Number 1, that we're going to constantly wear masks in public. I do have a public service announcement about masks here later on. Secondly, we're going to continue to stay physically distant from one another, about 6 feet apart. That definitely will not change throughout these 3 phases. We're going to take personal responsibility to follow the rules and change our behavior in order to adapt to a new retirement community post-COVID-19. We're going to develop plans, as we have, that are collaborative. This is a 17-page document that is very collaborative, ensuring that we're taking everyone's diverse point of view, listening to folks because they have different experiences throughout their life, different education, different folks that have their own vocations in life that may have had a need to create a preparedness plan. We take those items into consideration and have put that into our 3-phase plan. 3 more things, our shared values. One is our pathways to well-being. We've always said that we were going to use that as a guiding philosophy to ensure that every resident and every team member has their own well-being in check. The 6th shared value is that we're stronger together if we are safer, practicing safer at home standards. Should you need to go out to the local market over the weekend, don't forget good hygiene, washing your hands frequently, and don't touch your face. That's the most researched way that folks actually develop influenza, and it is the #1 reason why people have contracted COVID-19, touching eyes, nose, and mouth, because your hands aren't sanitized properly. And then lastly, implementing aggressive infection control steps in your own home, and we're going to touch on that with our own housekeeping department here in a minute. So that is the memo in general. We have, like I said yesterday, we have fine-tuned this 3-phase plan, and the team today and Monday and little parts of Tuesday are going to assign responsibility to specific items within this plan. My goal is to get another memo published into the hands of the residents, hopefully by Tuesday night, if not early Wednesday, about what phase 1 looks like in a very narrative form, so that we can implement phase 1 come Wednesday or early part of Thursday. So that's the plan. That is Cedar Field Forward. Families near and far, this little segment is for you. We actually, thanks to the Wellness and Leisure team, Karen Hoffman working with Touchdown, we have increased our Touchdown capabilities. So this is if you log on to if you log into www.mycedarfield.com, you'll be guided to another page. At the bottom of that page, you click Guest Access, and in the 3rd page, you are guided to this page, and it has all of our modules. So the Wellness and Leisure team have been working hard to take this specific module, the Pathways to Wellness module, and they broke out all the 9 dimensions of well-being: strength and endurance, creative expression, intellectual growth, spirituality, emotional balance, diet and nutrition, community outreach, social connections, and brain fitness. So now, all of the items that were loaded back in this once upon a time module that captured everything is broken out into 9 different modules, to make it easier for everyone. So I hope folks have fun with this over the weekend. It's going to make life a lot easier for you to be able to go to a specific module and then pull down different categories or events or programs that are loaded into these 9, 10 domains of well-being. Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Wellness and Leisure Team, for doing this. It'll make things a lot easier for not only residents, but families that are viewing it from afar. Our supply shuttle program will kick back up on Monday for those of you that have loved ones living in the independent living apartments. Monday is the day for you. So please, I encourage you to drop off a bag of goodies, a brown bag, over at Gaskins and Mayland. Thank you, Renee. Between 1 o'clock and 3 o'clock. Little construction update. These little fun facts come to you from the Falls family. Thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Falls, for putting these little fun little tidbits around the pond dredging. Before we get into the pond dredging, D-Wing is on schedule. We intend to have our first resident move in on June 15th. We're very excited about that. Second resident will move in the latter half of that week, and then we are actively working with the other 22 depositors, future residents, in scheduling their moves throughout the remaining balance of June and July. So just want to give everyone a heads up on D-Wing. Speaking of construction, one of the most frequently asked questions has to do with, there's one word down here called railings. Those of you that are walking around the community and happen to be walking past the garden bed area up by the assisted living patio, we know that there's several steps up there that were built in compliance with standards, and given the county's regulatory compliance, building those particular steps they're all in check. However, we do know now that those steps, we want to install some railings back there to make it safer for the residents. So I'm aware that is an issue for everybody. We are actively procuring a bid from a couple of different vendors out there to make that a reality. So we're working on that one. And then the pond dredging, these facts come via Mr. and Mrs. Falls. So some fun facts about the pond dredging for this one, let's say. So to date, there were 433 truckloads that came onto this property to remove the dirt within that pond. 11 cubic yards in each particular truck, which equates to 4,763 cubic yards per truck. If you turn that metric into tons, it equates to 7,144 tons of dirt removed. And if you want to take that ton metric and turn it into pounds, what's the equivalent of pounds? We're talking about 14,289,000 pounds of dirt and slug removed from the pond, excluding the fish, the turtles, and the snakes. So, just some fun facts around that particular project. Thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Falls, for quantifying that project. We We appreciate that. Okay, grocery shopping. Those of you that have the need for grocery shopping, we will kick this program back up on Monday. Those of you that are in the lane on the court, cottages in the lane in the court, and those of you that live on the first floor of this main building, if you could have your orders in by the phone on by Sunday at 8 o'clock at 474-8895, that would be great. Just a reminder that the Cedarfield shop is open Monday through Friday. Curbside service, as James Green calls it. Those of you that wish to venture down to our Cedarfield shop and procure items down there, that would be great. If anybody has any questions, feel free to text them now. Renee's here. While she is doing that, I have two public service announcements. One comes from Ann Hopper. So, sleeping habits. What we know now through our Operation Wellbeing, there's a group of about 17 team members that are collecting data from various sources to ensure that there is a safety net here, given the number of restrictions that we do have. And what we do know now is that one of the things that has been bubbling up for this Operation Wellbeing Action Team is that we're concerned about sleeping patterns for some residents, for many residents. And so, if you're listening tonight and you think that your sleeping pattern is off, I would strongly encourage you to contact the clinic. The clinic can be offering some advice to you. Helping Hands, Lori Shepherd, could be offering some advice to you. So you have two awesome registered nurses here, Ann Hopper and Lori Shepherd. In addition, they are accompanied by three great physicians, Dr. Vranian, Dr. Cook, and Dr. Shearer. And so I would, like I said, I would strongly encourage you. We know that this is a pattern that has been bubbling up, and we're going to be working on helping people with some healthier sleeping habits. So, in the event that you do hear from one of the folks from the clinic or the Helping Hands program next week, or somebody from Operation Wellbeing just checking in, asking how the sleeping pattern is going, we are really focused on this particular item, which lends itself to a whole host of other things that may be happening to the rhythm of your day. And so look for a phone call next week about sleeping habits. Another item in the clinic that we are focused on right now has to do with hydration. So it wasn't too long ago, in fact, 4 days ago, where we had freezing temperatures at night. It was very cold in the morning, and now we are going to experience 90-degree weather this weekend. And so naturally, our bodies have not adjusted to what we're going to experience this weekend. That's just natural. And so our public service announcement here is hydration is critical. You will not know if you are dehydrated because of how quick the temperature has changed on us over this past week. And so please just be mindful of not really going above and beyond maybe something, your walking pattern or exercise, making sure that you're drinking healthy amounts this weekend so that you're keeping your body hydrated. And then the last public service announcement, Ann came across this, actually it was from Governor Cuomo. When we're not wearing our masks, when we are wearing our masks, we are saying, I respect my neighbors. When we wear a mask, we are saying, I respect nurses and doctors. And when you wear a mask, you are saying, I respect other people. This comes from Governor Cuomo. Just a public service announcement about masks. Since it is going to be 90 degrees this weekend, if you are outside, you don't have to wear your mask. We want you to breathe in that fresh, not only we, the Department of Health wants you to breathe in that fresh air without any constraints. So if you're outside and you're not in close proximity to one another, and the wind isn't blowing, if those elements are in play, then I would suggest that you do wear a mask, but otherwise, please breathe in that fresh air without the constraint of a mask. It's only really when you're inside of the building in confined spaces that mask is really needed. If you have any questions about when or where to wear a mask, please feel free to call down to the administration suite, or you can call the clinic or the Helping Hands office, and they can help guide you as well. Okay, time for our So just one little tidbit here that's, can I say it again? The flags are raised at half-mast because today is Police Officers Memorial Day. In the event that folks are wondering why the flags are at half-mast, it is Police Officers Memorial Day. Thank you, Ray. Okay, virtual toast. In 2016, our Pinnacle Living Board of Directors approved a master plan expansion, which included the Pathways to Wellness building. This multi-million-dollar master plan expansion phase includes the building that we are all proud of right now, a $10 million building. I am so happy of the collaborative efforts between the residents, the team members, the Pinnacle Living Office, the architects, the general contractor, and the design team. When I wasn't here in the beginning, but when I read all of the memos, when I read the binders that were created by Nancy from the very beginning, those of you that don't know, the beginning of it was a process called an integrated pre-feasibility analysis. Really technical term, but that IPA process was led by a culture change consultant named Steve Shields, one of the first consultants in the country to start a person-centered environment in Manhattan, Kansas. So he came to our community, he led the team in this IPA process, and all the notes I read talks about diversity and inclusion, and so many people were involved in shaping the design of the building, all of the features, including the beautiful green spaces that we now have, our large lounge areas throughout the building, that spacious sanatorium. It is just a breathtaking building. One of the main drivers for this particular expansion phase is simply that Cedarfield recognized the need for a more comprehensive wellness philosophy, and a few people that are no longer here, Amy Chapman and a couple other team members, got together with residents, most notably Tom Maxwell, and they started dreaming about a wellness philosophy. And we intend to publish more about the roots of that philosophy next week. But from those seedlings, a whole philosophy and program was born of those 9 dimensions that I just shared on the screen. We're going to celebrate a 10th dimension here shortly. And then from that, when we went through this dreaming phase in our IPA process of what else do we need on this campus, everyone said we need a Pathways to Wellness building. And so yesterday was the conclusion, the absolute last day of construction for that Pathways to Wellness building. Those of you that showed me pictures of the truck driving off the property, I'll upload those pictures back on Monday and share those pictures of the last couple of vehicles leaving that courtyard. It states that this whole Pathways to Wellness dream and philosophy, now that it's here, states that we have truly shifted from a medicine and a taking care of people philosophy, and we have, without a shadow of a doubt, transferred and transitioned to preventative services, to well-being, and we are on a path to remove institutional barriers in this next phase called household, where we will no longer have a nursing home on the property. So, what's the future hold for our Pathways to Wellness building? It will first, we will continue to grow and nurture what the programming has been over the last 6 years. That's first and foremost. Secondly, we are in the middle of hiring a director of wellness and leisure. Matt Dameron and I have had 3 interviews this week, and we hope to have a director leading this whole philosophy hopefully by the end of June. We hope to, up to this point, the Pathways to Wellness program has primarily been implemented in the independent living side of our community, and we have grand aspirations to include the Pathways to Wellness philosophy in memory support, in assisted living, and in the households, our 5 neighborhoods. So we're excited about that future. We are incredibly excited to add a 10th dimension. Not quite sure what it's going to be called yet, but something around Mother Nature, where we're going to take all of the elements that happen around these beautiful 100 acres and condense it into a 10th dimension. So that's coming soon here in June and July. And 2 more items. We have Nancy, my predecessor, launched a employee wellness at work philosophy. And we have aspirations to include more of our Pathways to Wellness, our 9 and 10 dimensions of well-being within that employee wellness program. And then lastly, we are in conversation with a few universities in the area. Hopefully one of them bubbles up as our partner, and we want to do some research. We want to prove that our Pathways to Wellness philosophy engages residents and gives folks a better quality of life than that may give somebody who doesn't live at Cedarfield. So that's the future of philosophy. So, our toast. Raise your glasses. Eddie, you have a glass? Renee? Margaret? Everyone out there, raise your glasses. Hopefully you have your beverage of choice in your glass. A toast to 3 important words to me as we've gone through this philosophy, and more importantly, through the construction. One is inclusion. Thank you to all the residents and the team members for the inclusion, your diversity of thought and opinion. Second comes to mind is patience. The level of patience with this construction phase has been unbelievable. We haven't been patient all the time. I know I haven't been patient, but overall, the level of patience and tolerance has been extraordinary. And then the last word for me to this toast has to do with progress. Despite the physical, the visual out there, quote, be proud of yourself and all of the progress you've made, especially the progress that no one can see. Cheers. We are finished with phase 2 of our master plan expansion. Cedarfield has been and always will be known for excellence and moving the dial forward. And this phase of our master plan expansion is certainly going to help us do that. Here's a picture of our beautiful Pathways to Wellness building this morning with a beautiful blue sky. And David Stewart wanted me to announce one thing in the spirit of this momentous occasion. See that courtyard out there with those beautiful patios and umbrellas, tables and chairs? Right now they're not socially distant, but they will be next week. We are going to have a Memorial Day celebration in this courtyard. On Monday, not this coming Monday, but the following Monday, we're going to have a Memorial Day celebration. We're going to have music, we're going to have traditional holiday fare in the courtyard. We're going to practice being socially distanced. We're going to give it an attempt to have a meal out in this courtyard on the holiday weekend, that Monday. So be looking for more information. We're not all going to go out there at the same time because that would not be socially distanced. We're going to do it probably in different phases and invite people in different parts of the community to come to the courtyard and spend the better part of a few hours being socially distant and having a holiday meal together. So look forward to more information about that to come. Okay, any other questions? No questions? Ladies and gentlemen, we have Margaret for some spiritual well-being and some good news.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Today, instead of a prayer, I have a poem. I thought it was very meaningful. It did not have a name, but it is attributed to an author named Donna Ashworth. History will remember when the world stopped and the flights stayed on the ground, and the cars parked in the street and the trains didn't run. History will remember when schools closed and children stayed indoors, and medical staff walked towards a fire and they didn't run. History will remember when the people sang on their balconies in isolation, but so very much together in courage and song. History will remember when the people fought for their old and their weak, protected their vulnerable by doing nothing at all. History will remember when the virus left and the houses opened and the people came out and hugged and kissed and started again, kinder than before. And now we have some good news. Here we go. This is Maximilian Norton. He is the grandson of Marta Giannini, and he will be 4 years old on Sunday, May 17th. He lives with his family in Dublin, Ireland, where he is in a pre-K class at Nord Anglia International School. But thanks to COVID, they are currently staying at their lake house on Lake Michigan. When Maximilian takes a break from his homeschool classes, he enjoys running free and playing outside. All of us at Cedarfield wish him a very happy birthday.